Welcome back. We are, we're here to talk about the Marvels.
The Marvels.
So some really weird reporting went on this past week. The first bit of news we got about the Marvels this week was that it was reported to be tied for the lowest budget ever of an MCU movie.
Yay!
Which is, I mean, honestly
a good thing.
Props, for sure, props. I think that's the direction Marvel needs to go. Because I mean,
look at
I was gonna say look at Blue Beetle, but yeah, you.
Oh, okay, we can.
Because that had $100 million budget, I think, and I mean, and to be honest,
the visuals were a little
sure, but I mean, you could. I mean, that's a full superhero movie to me.
Sure,
and I think you could put out movies like that consistently. And you wouldn't have to make like 700, 800 million at the box office. You make 200 to 300 million, and that's still a good movie to make for you guys.
But I was gonna say, look at Fast X.
Yeah,
which was like
340 million.
And then look at The Creator.
Yeah, like 80 something million.
80 million or something like that. It's amazing. Like, why did we have to spend that much for a car movie?
Right. I mean, I don't know. I guess a lot of people will say like the budgets kind of rose because of filming in COVID times. But I don't know. I don't feel like the Marvels really filmed in COVID times. I feel like Marvel just wants to spend a ton of money. And unfortunately, that reporting of the $130 million budget was false. Basically, I think the next day, it was reported that basically the budget was more so around $220 million, which is, kind of in line for Marvel movies these days. And I think it's funny because just like you and I were excited that there was a $138 million budget for that. A lot of people, I felt like the hype around the movie instantly was like, oh, okay, it's just like every other Marvel movie,
as soon as it went up to 200,
right, because they're not doing anything different. They just keep pouring the same amount of money into every project. And a lot of them kind of suck recently, and
which I think we would be feeling differently if the movies had been better.
Sure.
Recently,
yeah,
we would just be like, "Cool, let's keep it coming," the way it was before.
Sure,
phases 1 through 3.
In a way, because I mean, they have been putting out way more recently than they did ever in phase 1 through 3.
Yeah.
But even when hearing. I guess on the other end, when hearing that it was going to be 130 million originally, I was like, wow, I'm so glad that Guardians came out, all the Guardians came out before there was this big backlash to Marvel, and Marvel wasn't doing super hot now, because I mean, if that were true and more Marvel movies started coming out where they were in that $130 million budget range, I mean, Guardians was twice that budget. I mean, I don't think Guardians 3 would have looked nearly as good as it would have if it was on half of the budget it was given, What
was the budget for?
260.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was a big one, but that obviously made a ton of money at the box office. I think it pulled 800 million in. So yeah, I mean, I hope maybe Marvel sees that the fan reaction was good to a lower budget movie, and maybe they'll go in that direction, because I think it'll be super beneficial for them going forward.
Why do you think that is, that people are excited that it's lower as opposed to higher?
I mean,
is it because in my brain, I think when it goes up to 200, I'm like, oh, so it's going to be super special effects heavy.
I think that maybe is part of it. Yeah, I think it was at 130 million, it would have been tied for the lowest budget with Ant-Man. And I think with Ant-Man, we got a really solid story without much special effects. I mean, sure, you had him go small, but I mean, that's not a huge special effect to pull off. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, maybe it really is about just Marvel special effects have dwindled in quality a little bit, and maybe people are just kind of over the story having to be surrounded by the volume or just heavy CGI effects, right? And they just want real good stories.
Yeah,
it's probably it. But yeah, I guess that's our thoughts on the Marvels.
I thought you wanted to talk about the Kevin Feige sort of like production of it all.
Interesting.
Too.
I mean, yeah, we can definitely talk about that. You know, I guess I would say that definitely I think bums a lot of people out. It bums me out because I can't say the universe's direction for Marvel has gone in a good direction. This, like, you know, in phase 4 and 5, and for this movie to be a Kevin Feige production is worrying, I think. Sure, he has a lot of thoughts and planning for all three of those characters, but I don't know. I think he was making the right choices and giving creators their own voice at one point, and I think it's a shame that he's so heavily involved now, you know?
I feel like he's always been heavily involved, though.
But think
beforehand.
But here's the thing. Think about, I'm going to go back to Guardians of the Galaxy, like the first one. James Gunn, I mean, even recently came out and was like, the only thing that they ever asked me to do was include an origin for the Infinity Stones in there. I mean, and I think maybe they wanted him to include Thanos at some point. But I mean, they gave him free reign totally on that movie. And I think that was, I mean, obviously Marvel was in its prime then. You had Winter Soldier come out right after that. That was the first Russo brothers movie.
Mm-hmm. But I still think he had an overarching, like, you
sure,
do your thing.
Sure, but that's the thing.
We're gonna
he had that overarching like structure, but he was only requiring a movie like you know, like Guardians to do set up two things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I guess you can compare that to like Secret Invasion, where he's like,
is a Kevin Feige production, correct?
Probably. I don't honestly know.
Because there's at least one or two other things that are like a Kevin Feige production.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it at least once.
But, you know, like with Secret Invasion, he was telling, I think he told the director, he's like, Nick Fury has to end up back in space at the end of this movie. Rhodey has to be paralyzed to set him up for Armor Wars. And you know, we have to have this huge Super Skrull fight at the end. And I'm like, you really needed all of that in this story. And he told the director of the show, I think his name's Ali Salam or something. I can't remember exactly what his name is, but or her name. But basically, Kevin was like, "Look, don't read the comics. We're not doing any of that here." And basically,
which is fair,
sure, but also kind of discouraged that like nerdy talk about Secret, like an Invasion comics on set, and was just like none of that's a part of us. I don't know. It's very interesting when you have like someone like I can't remember her name, the actress who plays Kamala Khan,
Iman Vellani.
Yeah. I mean, when you have someone like her who's so into the comics, so into the real stories that were put out before the MCU came about, and who Kevin Feige seems to like a lot.
But I mean, I'll say he's really hyped about having all three of those characters on screen. He was saying this will be like the same feeling of seeing the Avengers in the first movie, like that circle around. So I have some hope. I do like the general vibe of this movie. It feels a bit same old.
Right.
But I'm hopeful. Not too hopeful, because like I've said, I'm besides Guardians, I'm pretty getting off of I'm not gonna stop unless it gets unbearable, right? But I'm gonna, after Quantumania,
basically,
I was a little.
I think anything that comes out after this that isn't Deadpool 3, I am not confident in.
I'm really excited about Captain America 4 though.
I can't say I'm confident in it though.
And I am excited about what the Thunderbolts could be. But besides that, there's nothing, or maybe a little bit of Daredevil, but like besides that, I'm not like.
Sure. I mean, I can be excited for
what
them.
What about Loki season 2?
I mean, I guess I have a little more faith in that because like I know Tom Hiddleston, is that it? That's his name, right? Yeah.
Do you not know any Marvel?
I'm confirming. I'm sorry. I mean, I got it right, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, he like I think was an executive producer on the first season and I think wrote a few of the episodes. So he's like super heavily involved in this show. I have faith in him. So, you know, I guess I can say I have more confidence in season 2 than I would most other things. But I don't know. I wouldn't even say season 2 is a guaranteed great thing to happen, because I think there was one really bad episode in the first season, which was the 3rd episode where they like fall in love on that planet. But yeah,
there was a great, when he was talking about love, is it like a dagger though? I was like, all right, this is pretty good.
I guess I don't know.
Everything else I was like, well, this was inconsequential. What was this episode about?
Yeah.
What did we actually do?
They needed to fall in love. That was the point of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
And let a whole world just die.
I think if this movie does badly, I think this could, and if you're saying, you know, there's a Kevin Feige production on like before these shows and movies, I think that could stop. If this fails, I truly think that could stop.
We'll see.
Yeah.